Welcome back to Talking Shop. Great text, problematic text, maybe not problematic text. It's
challenging anyway.
It's challenging. It's not a softball one. From Mark chapter 12, 38 through 44, the end of the chapter. We're going to talk about doing stewardship sermon. No, we're not going to talk about that. But we're going to talk about this great text. It is challenging. I think it provides an opportunity for some maybe some creative homiletic work where you can really kind of ignite the imaginations of your people, which is always a good thing. But join us for it. Share your comments as well. It helps everybody. And let's get after it.
Spit out my Lord in every way, yet I'm still welcome in the arms.
All right, so Mark chapter 12, the end of the chapter, what is it? 38 through 44. Beware, right? And in his teaching, he said, beware of the scribes. Why?
They like to walk around in their stoles and be greeted in the marketplaces. Father. And have the best seats in the synagogue, or the chief seats in the synagogue, is where the Greek is, and the place of honor at the feast, or the head of the table at the feast.
Sounds like some pastors.
Yep.
It sounds like he's
accusing present company accepted.
Like, wait.
Yeah.
What
are you talking? You're the one who's wearing clerical right now.
No. He says scribes, Mike, not pastors. We're out. We're good. We don't have to worry about it. He doesn't say pastors who are like this. Only scribes who are like this.
So it's a warning, or watch out, be aware of, look out for this. Mm-hmm. And you get this kind of clear sense of this sort of glory seeking, looking for the attention, the place of honor. So, and like that, I think when we were translating through it's both kind of the big seat, the important place, and then the importance in the whole flow of the amongst the festival.
It's the place of authority, and then it's the place of honor. I think would probably be a way to.
And it's like all that's bad enough, and then you get the next verse, right? And what else do they do?
Devour widows' houses.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for a pretense of making long prayers.
Yeah.
And that one takes me back. We just did All Saints Day. We didn't go all the way through the Sermon on the Mount, but in the when you pray, don't be like the Pharisees who, stand out on the corner and make these long prayers. So.
Yep.
But I like you don't have it that you have here in Mark who pretend to make long prayers or for the sake of pretending make long prayers. Yeah.
Or make the show of it, because like a lot of people think that if you're praying for a long time, you're very devout and you're quoting a lot of scriptures, you're doing all these different things, and you're just making it feel like people are like, oh, this guy. Yeah. He's a good prayer, or he knows how to pray, or what it is. But sometimes, we forget. Prayer is just a simple conversation with the Lord.
There's a great scene, if you haven't seen the series The Chosen. I think it's towards the end of season 2. There's these two Pharisees who are going who are going into Jerusalem, and they're wanting the attention of this other Pharisee who's standing there praying. Okay. And so he's praying, and they go up to him and he goes, "Excuse me," and he puts his hand up and keeps praying. and they're trying to talk again. He's like, I'm still praying. He just keeps going.
Well, I mean, if you but one of those things that a lot of these scribes were always doing back then was there's a lot of traditional aspects to what they do, and a lot of it is a show. It's a display to other people because they want to prove, like us, the sackcloth and the ash and the sackcloth thing, and they'll sit there in the middle of the courtyard and they'll be like pouring it, and then they're screaming to the sky, and they're letting everyone in the place see that sometimes.
And I wonder if even the spin Jesus puts on the devouring widows' houses, but I wonder if from a standpoint, they weren't looking at it as, hand your stuff over to us, we'll take care of you now. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the outward show is, look how good we are, we're now providing for them. Mm-hmm. And they've just given their things over to us. So we're their caretakers now.
Yep.
So short prayers. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's the big takeaway. No, and the worry and the reason for the beware is right after that they make long prayers. He speaks this word of condemnation. We see this greater condemnation. And I don't know. I think it's in the Greek, right? It's judgment.
Judgment.
Right?
Yeah, krino.
It's a greater judgment.
And the word that ties those two paragraphs together, of course, is widows.
Yeah.
Devouring widows, and now we're going to see what the widow gives.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I keep thinking like this is a hard one to preach. I think. But we'll get there.
It can turn corners really fast.
Yes. We can, or maybe we just yell at our people to give more money. So moves from that then as he sits down opposite the treasury. So first of all, where are they? I mean,
they're in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
This is post Palm Sunday or post the triumphal entry.
Right.
Jesus has been having interactions with the Pharisees and the Sadducees in the temple. And so this is the main temple in Jerusalem that he's setting opposite the treasury now.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to put on a good show and make everybody,
this is the place you're going to do it.
This is the place where you're going to do it.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. So they're sitting down opposite the treasury, and they're watching people. First of all, like, I could see myself doing that. Like, you're just sitting there. You're like, oh, look at where they putting it. You know,
so maybe when you do the tithes and offerings, you just go and sit on the stairs now and watch your
I just watch. Pass it back to that guy again. Yeah. But yeah, so they're watching people put money into the offering box, I think is how it is rendered there. And many rich people put in a lot of stuff, right?
Make a lot of noise, a lot of to-do. See what I put in?
Yeah, so it's definitely playing off that same imagery of the scribes who are showing this outward glory seeking or whatever you want, however you want to describe
and
that.
all money at that time is metal. So
metal.
If you read some commentaries on this, they'll tell you the box they were putting it in had a metal entrance to it, almost a trumpet or a horn shape. And so you're putting a bunch of money in there, it's going to make a lot of noise.
You got to think of Vegas before they went digital.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Vegas, or when you take your coins to one of those Coinstar machines.
Oh, yeah.
It's like ching, 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 ching. Yeah. Something like that.
But it goes back to even Luther's day, right? When the coffer rings.
Oh, yeah.
Coin in the
When
coffer.
the coin in the coffer rings. A soul from Purgatory Springs. They were letting a lot of souls out of purgatory, man, just dumping them in.
So the rich people are putting in the money, and then the widow catches his eye, right? Poor widow, and she puts in 2 small copper coins. My English translation has, which makes a penny.
Yeah.
And I think the point is, when we were looking at it, was like lepta or something like that.
1/64 of a denarius.
Yeah, and it's the point is it's the smallest minted coin there was.
Yeah.
So there was like it was the smallest thing. So for us, it would be like a penny.
Yeah.
It'd be like or a halfpenny, I guess, or whatever.
Yep.
So the smallest you have, they're putting that in, and he calls his disciples to teach them. Uses this as a teachable moment. And I think maybe that's kind of where your sermon's going to focus. But what are his words? What's he want them to take away from this?
I tell you the truth, this poor widow has put more into the offering box than all the others.
Yep.
They all gave of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on.
Yeah, and when we were talking through the text earlier, we said that you could render that last phrase like that she gave the whole of her life.
Yeah.
The totality of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, as our brother who's Noah, who's here with us, he's explaining earlier when we were studying, is that the scribes who devoured everything, and you were talking about earlier how the scribes seemed like they were taking care of these people, and they would buy these widows' houses because that's the only possession the widow actually has, right? Is the house that she lives in, and so when they come in, buy their house, and then they take, they gave her what the money for it, but at the end, that's all she genuinely had to live on.
Yeah.
And eventually, when that depletes, it's gone. That's it.
So it is her whole life.
That is her whole life. Yeah.
An amazing display of trust in the Lord.
Yeah.
To take care of her.
Yep.
So that's the big question then is, what are you going to do when you're preaching this stuff? Is that the angle you're going to go with? Is it?
Well, I don't know. How's my budget looking for this year? Can I say,
sure.
how much is your life worth to God? It's, I mean, and again, going like this turns corners fast. You could go that way, but I think you made a great note. We're coming up here on the end of the church year. And so this is getting into end time stuff, but we're also coming up in Mark's. This is Holy Week.
Yeah.
This is Jesus in the last few days of his life. Is he really teaching a lesson that you're supposed to give up everything that you have for God, or is there something more to Mark's gospel? That's
I think that's where you wrestle with it, because like on the surface, it could just be like essentially like a stewardship sermon.
Yeah.
Like, and nobody wants to hear another one. Nobody wants to hear another one. But
besides the gospel will make better stewards than anybody. So.
Yeah. But I think you could play that in a sermon. I think like homiletically, you could do this example of this person who seems to be in this moment keeping the first commandment.
Yeah.
Go where everybody thinks the text is
everything
going.
in. And then if this is held forth as an example, as they would say in Georgia, all y'all are going to fail.
Yeah.
And then you got to import it in, but I think it's beautifully, there is one who gives the whole of his life.
Yes.
And he does it for you and that. And so I think that's where you were going earlier, right?
Yeah.
Bleeds and dies for us.
Yeah. That holds nothing back.
And in Mark's gospel and in Jesus' life and all of that is that pickup of the kingdom isn't going to look the way that you think it will.
Yeah.
And so at the moment when Christ is now going to be dead on the cross and it looks like it's all over, that's actually the highest offering that could be given to our God that's going to bring salvation to his creation.
But that's also the glory seat, right? That's the seat of honor because Jesus is glorified at the cross. And so that's the seat of honor that we don't all expect, because that's the servant that is brought up to the highest position.
Turns out the seat of honor isn't in the synagogue or even in the temple. It's outside the city gates.
Yep.
Now is the Son of Man glorified.
Where the sinners and the lowest of the low go to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think as we're coming here into end times, I think you could also give this idea that in giving up his life, he's given you yours. And so while it looks like this world is going to destruction, while it looks like you're falling apart, while it looks like we're being destroyed by disease and poverty and everything else, our God is actually taking that and he is creating eternity for you.
Yeah.
And so we can give up all that we have. We can give up everything we think is important, because in the end it's all going to go anyway.
Yep.
And there's a greater treasure waiting for us.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful build-up to the Holy Week and the ransom that Christ is going to give his life as a ransom for many. Because you got the rich young ruler who couldn't sell everything he had and follow Jesus. But the disciples like, wait, we've left everything and followed you. And Jesus gives the promise.
Yeah.
There's a promise there that you'll receive 100-fold and in the life to come, eternal life, but also persecutions as well. Yeah. Then we didn't teach on this, but you got blind Bartimaeus who throws off his cloak. That's the only possession he had. So he throws off what his earthly possessions were to follow Christ. And now this widow does, but it's building to the most beautiful example of all, which kind of echoes Philippians 2. Christ did not consider equality with God to be grasped, but add to himself there.
Yeah. Gave everything is up for obedience, and that has given you life.
And that ultimately goes back to the last line, right? The trust, right? We were saying she's trusted. That's why she gave everything. And then that's the problem that all the different readings that we've had up to this point is what is getting in the way of your trust. Right? You think about any third world country or any country with oppression on religion and whatnot, people actively don't have anything, so their only thing to do is trust in the Lord, because that's where their hope and their salvation comes from. But people with things, they're no longer trusting in the Lord, they're trusting in the material goods that they have. And so
so give more. That's
blessed are the poor.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, if the church is the object of that, I think you could play the trust off even in the even where righteousness is coming from, because the people who are giving much, they're believing in their goods that they're putting into the treasury to give them their righteousness, or at least
I guess to be honest. So this lady, she knows that a penny isn't going to make one bit of difference.
Right.
But there's this incredible trust, because it is her whole life. It is all that she has. And so I think that is the challenge in preaching. It is to hold out the example as something beautiful, right, and as something worth striving for. While same time saying, you're going to fail at this, but there's one who has sold it all for you.
That's right.
And so if you did want to make this into a stewardship sermon, nobody wants to hear another stewardship sermon.
Nobody wants to hear it.
You could do it in the fact of what is holding your trust in God back. What is it that is keeping that from that? If you haven't done that with the rich young ruler.
And Christ, go back to Christ our Savior as opposed to just example. Whatever it is that's holding you back, Christ died for that too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and again, that's the gospel in all of this, is that he is the one who gave it all up. And he did so trusting in God's promise, not for himself really, but for you. That his sacrifice was going to bring you life.
Absolutely.
All right. It's good stuff. Thank you, gentlemen. Take a minute to like and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Check out craftofpreaching.com. There'll be an article on this text. All the others. Now we have videos on them all as well from the other guys, so check those out. And God bless your preaching.